All right, NFC West, where Rams are
Kyle is an animal.
Rams were champs a year ago. 9.5 is their over under. Minus 145. People buying the over on the Rams, but I did this number before this week. I went with 10. Kyle went with 10. Brock went with 12. But
8.
We all have the same caveat here.
Stafford thing is big enough smoke that we're all like, what's going on? I think everyone's they're bringing out. Did you see that work stream or whatever was outside the facility?
What is that thing?
That they're giving him a brand new back, apparently. I don't know what that was, but it's specifically from Matt
Backiotomy.
Backiotomy. But my dad, who was an orthopedic surgeon, used to say, no one ever had a bad back. Usually if you have back injuries, they don't surgery on backs, things of that nature. There's no fixing backs.
There's fusing or pain management.
Yes. So the fact that he still isn't practicing, still isn't even throwing, not a great sign. Let's start by just he's playing, he's healthy the full season, because I think everyone knows if he's not out there, it's it's a 6-7 win team. They're screwed. They're screwed.
There's enough negativity in the world, Mike. I love that. Let's remain positive. If Matthew Stafford can go out there and be the young spring chicken that we know he is, this wide receiver duo in Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams is as scary as it gets. You can't favor one. Both of them have full route trees. Both of them have enough speed to get by you. You trust both of them in any one-on-one situation. It's a nightmare. Then you get Kyron Williams, the newly paid man who has been just a wrecking ball. I will admit, hand up, I didn't see it at first. If you told me his rookie year that this is what Kyron Williams would become, I would have given you one of Kyle's knuckle sandwiches, but I love being wrong about things like that. Kyron Williams is a monster. It's offensive line. Yeah, if you had to put a question mark somewhere, it'd be on the offensive line, but I take this offensive line over a whole lot of other ones. Defensively, we saw in the playoffs how much growth there was in first year and second year guys. So yes, while I have question marks about the secondary, if you got this pass rush that's about 5 or 6 deep, you can have question marks in the secondary. What it comes down to is Stafford. What it comes down to is, can you stop the run better than you did a year ago? And maybe the most important thing, can you not sleepwalk through the first half of the season that the Rams are known to do? Finishing strong is important, but in a tough NFC, when seeding is so articulate and specific, you can't sleepwalk. You need every single one of those wins. So all that is to say, it hinges on number 9.
Simply put, there's only a handful of units in the National Football League that I will give credit to for wins or losses. I think about the Philadelphia offensive line, or I think about the offensive backfield from Baltimore. These types of units that just win. When I think about the Los Angeles Rams and their 4 horsemen of the apocalypse on the defensive front, I think about the New York Giants' new look defensive line. These are units that can actually win you games. I mean, they will get the football from the quarterback. Sometimes they will run it in themselves. That's called points. So look, Matt Stafford, if he's healthy, they're going to score points. If they score points, the other team will be forced to throw the football. And I'll tell you, as an offensive lineman, you don't want to have to throw the football against a unit like that. Let's hope that he does stay healthy. But if he doesn't, maybe 7 or 10.
Yeah, I went with 10. I mean, if this team, like you just told me, they stay healthy the entire year, no injuries. I mean, it's 13 wins is within play. Like this is a damn good starting roster. It's just, it's old, it's thin. Health at that point is almost like a given, especially with Stafford's back issue. It's almost like a given that injuries are going to happen at some point. And we saw what happened when the offensive line got banged up last year. Now they got some depth now. They got Willie Lampkin now. They got DJ Humphries now. There is some depth that maybe they're not dead in the water the way they were that 3 or 4 week stretch when they had so many injuries along their offensive line. But then I just look at the secondary and I'm like, there will be games where people, they run into an offensive line that's not overpowered by what they do up front, and then they're back in screwed. Or just, comes with a good game plan where they're getting it out of the hands quickly, mitigating the pass rush. and then they're back in screwed. That's just, I keep coming back to them. Just like, if anytime you're attacking these corners, it's a win for the offense. So I went 10, but again, the Stafford injury is going to be what everyone's on the lookout for. All right, Seattle Seahawks, they won 10 games a year ago. Their over-under is only 7.5. Obviously, a big reason to that. Going from Geno Smith to Sam Darnold. Minus 145 to the over, though. People aren't buying. That's going to be that big of a drop-off. I am, though. I went 7. Brock, you went 8. Cal, you went 8 as well.
So I know it feels cheap to bring up injuries. I know you guys don't like to do that, but I feel bringing it up here is warranted because there is no way Cooper Kupp and Kenneth Walker III play an entire slate of games. We just haven't seen it. For Cooper Kupp, it's been, I want to say, 3 consecutive seasons, at least back-to-back seasons. He's missed at least 5 games. Kenneth Walker III really hasn't been healthy his whole career. So while on paper, Sam Darnold is surrounded with weapons, how often are those weapons going to be there? How reliable are they going to be? This defense will claw them to at least 6 wins. I am so high on this defensive front. I'm so high on Devin Witherspoon. Whether it be nickel, whether it be corner, this guy's going to play NFL forever. He'll eventually move to safety. Like he is phenomenal, and them alone will get them 6 if they can maximize the number of games that K-Dub Trey and Cooper Kupp are, they're healthy together. That alone gets them 2 more wins. So that's how I came up with the number 8.
Well, and not only that, you got to mention their tackle injury history.
Charles, yeah, true. Yeah,
those guys never threw a full season either. So there's a lot of injury concerns on this offense.
Defense will carry them. Sam Darnold will have a few weeks where he's going to be, oh my God, there's the guy that was scouted and recruited and succeeded in Minnesota in large part. But to your point, Brock, I mean, you can set your watch to a few of these teams where it's like, I just know for a fact that these guys aren't going to stay healthy. And they're definitely not going to be healthy together. And a lot of the game plan depends on that. I think about like San Francisco and the injuries they dealt with. And it seemed like nobody was ever healthy on that offensive side of the ball for them. It'll be a similar uphill battle. But when I'm talking about the win total, you got to keep in mind Matt Stafford probably isn't going to be healthy the entirety of the season. So there's a couple slugfests, maybe against a backup quarterback. The Arizona Cardinals are up and down, but talented. And again, the health concerns in San Francisco. So, I mean, these are teams in the division. You can sneak a couple wins if you play against some backups, but it ain't going to be very great in Seattle.
Yeah, this one to me is just, I think going from Geno Smith to Sam Darnold is a huge downgrade. Just huge. I don't think you can mitigate that. And you also went from DK Metcalf to Cooper Kupp. Like, I think that's also a huge downgrade. Like, I don't, if your goal was to take the next step offensively or just take the next step this offseason into, a team that won double-digit games to NFC West champs to a Super Bowl, I hated what they did. I hated what they did this offseason. I just don't think it was enough. And so that's why I'm at 7. But I'm with you, Brock. This defense is so good. I want this team to be good. They should be good on the defensive side of the ball. It should be a dominant unit. It's just, I don't think offensively you're going to get near the results. Just Sam Darnold's fooled us enough at this point that I don't think he's your savior. All right, Arizona Cardinals up next. 8 wins last year. 8.5 is their over under. Minus 125 if you want to go over, and we're all going over. I went 10. Yeah. Cal went 10. Brock went 10.
Yeah, I love this team. I loved them last year. I said they were going to be a playoff team. They had opportunities, but they unfortunately fell short. But I feel they got enough of a taste of what it takes. Oh, this is the level we need to play at every single week if we want to make the playoffs. That's what they got. I love Gannon, and I love this offense. Look, James Conner, speaking of the injury bug, this guy is the most physical running back in the NFL. And he's sitting here back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons. Nobody wants to tackle him. If you ask linebackers around the NFL, hey, who's the guy that people don't think of is a nightmare to tackle? All of their answer is James Conner. The guy is just a load, and there's nothing you can do with him. Kyler Murray, I understand the criticism in regards of the Call of Duty thing was probably the worst PR thing that could have ever happened for him. And since then, whenever he struggles, it's easy to latch on to calling him lazy, calling him uncommitted. None of that is true. Maybe he plays too many video games, but we all have our vices. None of that is true. This offense is in great hands. Defensively, under defensive coordinator Nick Rallis, I'm very high on him, even if they could have added a little more in free agency. I love what they did in the draft. I feel that in the cornerback room in Will Johnson, everyone is going to be kicking themselves for looking too much into that foot injury. He is going to be a star. Give me 10 wins, a favorable schedule as well.
Yeah, talented team. I'd say 9 wins just because they're a little bit unpredictable. And I've been there in the studio with you, Brock, before on Sunday mornings where you and I are having the conversation. It's like, should Kyler get more respect for the MVP conversation? That's been the level of play that he has shown us he can get to. If he can elevate his level of play just a little bit more and be more consistent, if Marvin Harrison Jr. can show up and be a real mismatch each and every week, then I would have no problem saying 10, but I'm going to say 9 just because I'm cautiously optimistic. But that situation with the health in the NFC West and some of these new look offenses, you could see the Cardinals just being the team that does not let up, and they can just kind of bully some of these groups.
Yeah, I'm buying into the defensive transformation. Their D-line is just going to be a much different animal. And Will Johnson, I think, is an NFL-ready guy. Like, he's an NFL-ready guy to exactly what they needed. Offense, I don't even know if the offense needs to change too much from a year ago. I think it will be better. I think the Marvin Harrison Jr. Kyler Murray connection, I think is going to work out a lot better. I think you'll see him take a big step forward in year 2. But even if it doesn't, I still think what they've done defensively takes this from an 8-win team to a 10-win team. I think that's where they're at. And again, the favorable schedule helps as well. All right, last team in the West here. San Francisco 49ers, 6 wins last year. 10.5, though, is their over-under. Highest of anyone in that division. And it's only minus 102. Obviously, they have one of the easiest schedules in the NFL. That's a big part of why. I went 10, Kyle went 10, but Brock, you're not quite buying the big bounce back year. You only went 8 for the 49ers.
I understand how easy their schedule is, but I feel people are too confident and they think they understand what this team is going to look like. Kyle brought it up, I think, when we were talking about the Rams. No, when we were talking about the Seahawks. This team is beyond injured. I don't even know what the word for it is at this point. And we're not even factoring in the guys that are currently healthy that haven't finished seasons healthy normally, notably the guy in the graphic right there, even though he's one of the best at the running back spot when he is healthy. Brock Purdy will be there. Brock Purdy is all eyes on him. You got your big money. You look to your left, you look to your right. There's probably 2 or 3 guys who aren't here anymore because we had to pay Brock Purdy. Who is he throwing to with confidence? That's my question. Who is he throwing the ball to with confidence? And defensively, when you are facing this team, okay, George Kittle is their best threat through the air right now until anybody gets healthy. Well, how much room can you put between Christian McCaffrey and George Kittle? Because those are the 2 guys that defenses are going to have to respect. George Kittle is a traditional tight end. He is an inline guy. It's not like Kelsey where you can flex him out wide. All of the attention is from hash to hash. And until the 49ers can prove to me that they can threaten you from the numbers to the sideline, I just can't raise my win total. It doesn't feel good, but I can't.
I'm going to buy this uptick here because I do love Brock Purdy, and I love what he's all about. And for all the question marks about a slew of quarterbacks and their character and some of their habits, I don't think there's anything I can point my finger at for Brock Purdy. He's a competitor. He loves to give his guys opportunities. And while they dealt with a lot of injuries last year in San Francisco, one thing they did is they got a lot of experience from some young players who are going to be asked to be a big part of turning this thing around. I've got the Niners at 10 wins. You know how I feel about Kyle Shanahan and his innovation offensively, and he puts guys in good positions. They drafted well on the offensive line. And Robert Saleh's back in town, okay? He's with his boy. That's something to keep an eye on. That's called chemistry, and you want to bottle that shit up like lightning in the National Football League. 10 wins. I like Brock Purdy, Ricky Pearsall. Come on.
Yeah, I went 10 wins, but I kind of do see them more like you see them, Brock, in that this team is not just going to be the Super Bowl team we saw 2 years ago. Yeah. They have the stars, right? The big names are there, and yeah, they were hurt last year, and that's why they weren't, why they fell off so hard. But they also have lost so much of, it wasn't just a stars and scrubs approach to get to that Super Bowl. They had a lot of great other starters that aren't walking through that door anymore. Brandon Ayuk's hurt, right, to start the season. Deebo Samuel's gone. Aaron Banks is gone.
Greenlaw's out of there. Hufanga's gone.
Dre Greenlaw, Talanoa Hufanga, Eric Armstead, Javon Hargrave, and those last two, maybe the biggest because they stunk along the defensive line last year. And they didn't add anyone besides really in the draft. And as we said, the draft, you don't always know what you're going to get. Michael Williams may not be an impact player year one. Alfred Collins might not be an impact player year one. It doesn't always, these guys don't always hit the ground running. Now, I like them as prospects, but it's also like they're big unknowns, and that's all you're relying on for your defensive turnaround that was, bottom 5 run defense in the NFL last year. I don't know if it's going to happen. So I went 10 just because the schedule's so easy, but I would not advise going and betting over 10.5 for this team right now. I don't think the bounce back's coming, and the division right now is too tough, in my opinion.